So today we are talking to, is it Cherie or she? Can you pronounce that
It's
for me?
cherry, like the fruit.
Cherry. Oh my goodness. I think you told me that actually. I apologize. Cherrie Birman, is that right?
Hmm.
Okay. And we are going to learn about what she is and how you can get connected to her. I know that she has a Facebook group and a website, but I love what she's doing, and I think that this will be a good opportunity for some of our moms, our women entrepreneurs, and small business owners to really dive in and get to connect with Cherrie on a deeper level and to understand what it means to be connected, and to have that relationship with someone else who's been there, done that, and really working towards just a deeper grounded connection to ourselves, to our community, to God. And so yeah, so thank you, Cherrie, so much for being here today. I appreciate you taking this time to sit with me and co-host Coffee and Conversations this evening. Tell me a little bit about you.
Okay, I guess we'll start off with I'm a mom of 9, and that is crazy. Our house is
Yeah.
full of laughter and noise and messes, but also the blessings and love is overflowing. So I live in Springfield, Missouri, and just I inspire families to live a connected life. So the relationships that we have can grow deeper and we can build amazing legacies.
I love that. So, you are a mom of 9, which, holy cow. Oh my gosh, that's amazing and also incredible and scary. And I could find all of the adjectives in this moment. But congratulations on it's like a whole, is that a baseball team?
I think 9 is a baseball team, but you
Yeah,
kind of want
yeah,
extras in there, right? So you need a little
yeah,
more.
yeah. Do you think that you'll have more?
Ooh, that's like such a deep question there.
Oh my goodness.
So when we got married, me and my husband Ted, we decided to let God decide the size of our family, and we've
Okay.
continued with that.
Hmm.
I liked 4. I thought 4 would be awesome, and he thought 4 would be awesome. So that was perfect, right? But then we got to 4, and we kept going, and now we don't know. We just keep praying that God knows what He's doing because so many kids in little time is really hard. Like we had
Yeah.
3 in 3 years, then we had a miscarriage, and that
Yeah.
was tough too. And then we
Mhm.
had 3 more in 3 years, and then the last 3 have been a little bit more spread out, which has helped me to like bounce back and recover. And last year we actually had a miscarriage. So we
Mhm.
aren't sure about the future.
Mhm.
We do kind of try to watch my cycle, I guess you could
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
And I feel like our family can be complete, but if it were to happen, we would be open to that too.
Okay. So, so you have a baseball team under your roof, and you have this incredible opportunity to connect to moms in the real world, because it's like you've been there, done that. Literally, you have 9 children to prove it, but also the journey to building the community that you have. That's what I want to learn about today, and what I want to share with our audience, and have them understand what it is that brings you here, that makes you thrive in this world. And so, tell me about um, how your service came about.
Okay, well, I mean that goes back to when I had like 6 kids, and there's 6 kids under 7. There's all this life around me, and there was a buzz of activity, and I felt drained, and
Mm,
I did not feel like I was alive.
mm,
And I was stuck in that mundane life of like the same thing happening over and over again.
mhm,
Cleaning messes was pretty much
mhm.
all I did. That's how I
Yeah.
felt.
Yeah.
I'm like nursing all the time and cleaning messes. That was my life. And
Mhm,
I just had a moment to myself where I asked that question, is this really what motherhood is supposed to be?
mm,
And was this what I yearned for? I always wanted to be a mom, and now I am a mom, and this really isn't what I thought it would be like at all.
yeah.
And, I just dove into prayer, and he gave me an answer that it surprised me. It was unexpected. So I wanted this deep connection with my kids, and I felt like I was living in it, but I was not taking it in.
Mm,
So I was there doing all the things, reading, teaching, playing with them, but I wasn't embracing the moment really. And
mhm,
I knew I wanted it to change. I wanted to enjoy my kids when I was there with them at home.
mhm.
And um, he just told me that I needed more of him. And that's
Okay.
what surprised me. So I wanted more with my kids, but then he's telling me that I have to spend time away from them in him.
Mhm.
And that boggled my mind for a little bit. But I found ways where I could incorporate him with my kids. So I didn't necessarily have to leave the room or be by myself, but it was inviting the Holy Spirit in to every activity we did. And I just noticed that the deeper and the more time I spent with him, the more deep and time I had with my kids, and the
Mhm,
smiles came back. Um
mhm,
I mean, my kids didn't ever lose their smile, but I felt like I lost my smile, and
mhm.
it came back. And I really thought it was fun when my husband noticed. So he actually said to me one day, like, I've missed your smile and it's back, it's here. And I was just like, whoa, okay. So what I'm doing is working. Spending time with God. And that's what made everything kind of flip and turn around.
Mhm,
Noticing the blessings. And then when you focus on that, like the more blessings there are,
mhm.
and what we focus on gets bigger, and that's what happened. And 3 years ago we made a big move from Michigan to Missouri, and we didn't know anybody here, and I was kind of at a loss of like, what am I going to do,
Yeah.
and how am I going to meet friends or whatever. And then COVID happened, and then you're shut down in your home, and I was just like, what, where am I going to find these people, what am I going to do? I need connection in some way, because
Mhm,
I really believe that this motherhood journey that we're on is way better and more fun when we can do it together.
mhm.
And so I just dove into prayer again and was like, where am I going to find these people? And he was just hinting me slowly to Facebook. And you need to create a Facebook group. And honestly, I don't really like social media. I think that moms should spend more time with their kids instead of on social media. But Facebook has a ton of users, and we're there, and he's like, go to them because that's where they are. And I started my Facebook group. This was like a little over a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's how
and
I got to today.
yeah, it really is, it is that, that acknowledgement that, first of all, as a mom myself, I have 3 children, and it can be lonely and it can be hard. There's a lot of struggle, with knowing if I'm doing the right thing or finding the right resources, or even just the emotional overwhelm that comes with having 3 other human bodies, to care for and to provide for consistently. And on top of that, just making sure that they are also connected while I'm trying to be regulated myself. As an entrepreneur, I was just talking to another co-host this morning about how I teach and preach balance because it's so important if we are going to be connected to ourselves and then also those around us fully and optimally. But as an entrepreneur, it's so hard to maintain balance 100% of the time. And so, as you're talking about this journey to Missouri and then the pandemic hitting, and you're stuck at home and you have more children than I have, I can only imagine how hard that must have been emotionally and mentally and physically, and to have the wherewithal to just sink in and listen and be quiet and be still in that moment and just say, here I am. I want this to be fruitful. I want this to be successful. I want this to be relatable. I want this to be something that connects me to the community that I also need. That speaks volumes to who you are and how incredible it is to be able to connect with you and learn from you and be guided by someone that has lived the experience literally.
You keep saying that I've been there and done that, and I feel like I'm still right in it. My youngest
Yes.
is 4.
Yes.
My oldest just turned 18. So I don't feel like I've been there and done it all and all that stuff. And I've worked so hard at like creating our family life how it is that it's just like normal to me. And I don't think it's special. And I
Mhm.
have to remember that not everybody has lived through 9 kids. And I do have
Uh-huh.
things to offer, and I'm trying to embrace that and be able to like, let them out in my Facebook group.
Yes, yes. You mentioned that you're not a fan of social media, and I can tell you, I have my own personal opinions about social media, and we don't have to go into that specifically. But it's how you and I connected. That is how, when I put out the call for co-hosts and you said, I would love to do this. It is a way to connect to the people that we are supposed to be connected to. And it also allows that feeling of being lonely or stuck, or, maybe just not feeling truly connected to anyone else. And allowing a platform to host that connection, and maybe eventually creating a 3D or 4D connection, outside of the computer screen, in a way that doesn't feel so overwhelming. It doesn't feel fake or disingenuous, because there are a lot of groups out there. There's a lot of moms with toddlers, moms with teens, moms, of teen boys, or dad groups. I don't know how many dad groups are out there. Maybe I need to do some research on that one, but that's not your audience anyway, is it? But there are a lot of mom groups out there, and I'm sure that many of them are resourceful and allow other moms to connect on a deeper level. But I feel like yours is intentional and focused on bringing it back to the family, grounding, and really seeing ourselves as moms in the middle of all of the things that we do, the wearer of all the hats in the home. and giving that purpose, giving that social media platform a purpose, an intentional purpose. And so I can certainly appreciate that you are on there, and I'm really glad that you you listened, you leaned in a little bit more and said, okay, I'm willing to go where I'm called, literally, and to do something with that, take action.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned intentional and purpose. I mean, one of my things is pausing for purpose. And
Mhm,
so there's purpose behind what we're doing. And yeah,
mhm,
maybe social media isn't the best platform for some things, but we can be intentional about how we use it, and it can
mhm.
create amazing things. I mean,
Yeah.
since a year and a half ago, the relationships that I've made through Facebook have been phenomenal. And I
Mhm.
have, like, a few business groups that I'm in too, and the relationships that I've made in those are like priceless. And I'm
Mhm.
like, thank goodness I listened and came onto
Yeah.
Facebook because I
Yes.
wouldn't have met
Yes.
people like you.
And it has its place and it has its merit, but I really want to dive into how you connect with your audience on Facebook. How do you connect with them? Is it one-on-one? Is it in a group? What does that look like?
Okay, so my group, She's Connected, God, Herself, Her Kids, we do weekly live meetings, and they
Mhm,
are on Zoom, and it is a group. So everybody's invited to come onto the Zoom meeting, but we're busy moms. So I understand that we can't all make it too. So
mhm,
it's okay if nobody comes, and I'll have um, a message prepared to
mhm,
talking points to go through. And I love that moms can watch the replay too. But the best part is when they interact. So when they come to the lives, when I get to see their faces, that's amazing. And when they comment their answers to questions in the comment section, like that just makes me happy and get excited. And I get to get in there and actually ask them more questions, and we get to dive a little deeper. And I love that part. So I guess I would say weekly meetings is what we do in,
okay.
in a group.
Yeah. Yeah. In a group setting, but it doesn't feel so formal because you're in the group
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely has to be informal because 9 kids wandering around my house, sometimes they come in during my
Yeah.
lives and they're wild and crazy, and I always apologize, but we're all moms, so we understand.
Yeah. And I think that, sorry, I'm trying to mute this. Okay, there we go. Um, I think that uh, it gives you it gives you a platform, obviously, to have a voice, but also to showcase that like you're living it. You are in the middle of it. Your kids are coming in, running around. And before we started this, we were both like, "Can you hear my kids?" Like I said it first, and then you said it, and I was like, that's relatable. That tells us that we are doing the right thing. We're right in the middle of it, uh sharing our experiences, being open to imperfection, I guess you could say. um and people see that and they know, okay, so Cherrie is a real person and she's not just making up these things. Um and she's inspirational and she is giving us good consistent feedback that we need. That helps us live more connected, to be more joyful. Which, by the way, did you know that my tagline, my little mission statement is helping you live a more joyfully connected life. That's my whole thing. Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's amazing. Just when I
yeah,
saw what yours was called, the connect effect, is that what it is?
connection effect.
Connection effect. I was just like, okay, we have to meet each other. and talk.
Yes.
But I didn't know
Yes.
your tagline. So this
Yeah.
is like, woo.
That means it's meant to be. We are meant
Right.
to be right here having this conversation.
Yes, for sure.
So, tell me, as you are providing these weekly, well, we could call them a meetup, like a, a video session, a live video session with your audience. While you're doing that, or maybe even before, like when you're preparing your message or preparing whatever it is that you're, led to talk about that day, um, do you feel like you are gaining or building, let's say building, like you're building a community of people that maybe you want to connect with forever? um
Ooh.
I know it's a big question, but as I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, moms need that community where we can just lean on each other whenever we need reassurance, or even just in the moment we need guidance and support. And sometimes that can lead to lifelong friendships or lifelong relationships. Do you feel like you have that, or that you're building that in your community, in your Facebook group?
Oh, I hope that that is something that my members can gain.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's only a year, a year and a half into it. The group is still
Mm-hmm.
pretty small.
Yeah.
And I think there's still, like, so many people are on a ton of Facebook groups. And
Mm-hmm.
they're Facebook groups that they don't even go in that often. And they just have this
Mm-hmm.
huge long list of groups that they belong to, and they aren't engaged in any of them. So I
Yeah.
think there is a learning process where they
Mm-hmm.
need to see what you're doing and what you're trying to create. And
Mm-hmm.
I do want them to be more involved. And so
Mm-hmm.
um, just trying to pull that out of people, to get them to show up, to get them
Mm-hmm.
to share. And
Yeah.
then, we can learn together. And of course, I'm all about building a legacy. So my
Yes.
family's legacy, their family's legacy,
Mm-hmm.
and if we work together enough, like, of course, our relationship's gonna last a lifetime.
Yes. Yes. Do you have like a particular topic or message that um, maybe you have touched on, because maybe a member was uh, having a struggle or having an obstacle that they're faced with, or even something that like you've done a conversation on multiple times? What does it look like, I guess, what when you're having these conversations?
Yeah, I think when you first ask that, the thing that comes to my mind is a theme that's been running throughout the year and a half of having the group, and it
Mhm,
is bravery, being
mhm,
brave. I feel like all moms are brave, like, from the
mhm.
start, but for
Yeah.
some reason we have trouble believing it and
Mhm,
actually living it out, like,
mhm.
with that courageous warrior in us.
Yeah.
We might, like, we are brave, and we will go through things that are really hard, and we just do it because we have to. But
Yeah.
I want the moms in my group to realize the power behind that, so we can
Mhm.
move forward to live in bravery instead of just being brave, but we're
Yeah.
living out our bravery. So I
Yeah.
think the brave is my, like, overall theme, and we're
Mhm,
really talking about that a lot
mhm,
lately, especially.
mhm. Yeah.
But a couple weeks ago, someone had asked me about courage, which kind of goes hand in hand with
Mhm,
bravery. And
mhm,
so then my last week's live, we had a little bit more talk about being courageous and
mhm.
doing things, even when we don't really want to,
Yeah.
but we are called to do it. And,
Mhm.
you know, having the courage. And it kind of comes with the group too.
Mhm.
So like if you have a group or a community of moms who are encouraging each other to have courage and be brave, then we're going to do that more. And so that's
Yes.
what excites me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a mom shared in one of my meetings about a health condition that she was having trouble with, and then that encouraged another mom in my group to share about some health thing she was going through that she hadn't told anybody yet about. And I was just like, we just did that here on the live. Like
Mhm.
this person's story helped this person be brave and share their story. And that's when the learning and growing can happen. And that's when I
Yeah.
get excited.
Yeah. Yeah. I can tell. I can sense it. It makes me feel inspired. And to know that that community exists, and that those women are connected and plugged in there, and they had that opportunity to share a vulnerability in the moment without any expectation. And as because I'm a coach, I'm a personal coach, and I talk about vulnerability, and I talk about stepping into your power and being brave and courageous, and all of those, those are very real conversations that we have. Um, but I'm also a firm believer that um, you know, we can inspire others by stepping into who we are, into our authentic self. And I believe that we are all brave. We are all brave, and we all possess courage. We have to acknowledge it. And that's whenever that real work begins. But allowing ourselves to, to be in a group where we're sharing, where we're being vulnerable and saying, okay, yeah, someone else is going through this too, and they're sharing and they're being authentic, and there's no rehearsing it. There's no it doesn't have to be cookie cutter, it doesn't have to be perfect. We just get to show up as who we are, and live that moment for everything that it is, while being safely held by Cherrie, who is guiding us I don't want to say exercise, but this moment, through this, through the conversation.
Yeah, I love that. I just loved how you were talking about, okay, being authentic. And I kind of hear that word a lot. And
Mhm.
maybe we don't really understand what it means or what it means to us yet. But when
Mhm.
someone finds it, like, then it's awesome. And you can really see them start to, I don't know the right word, but move forward in
Yeah.
anything that they're working on.
Mhm.
And and then we can celebrate together.
Yeah. Yeah. They see themselves for who they are. And authenticity is something that I am such a huge, huge advocate for anyone, but especially for women. We sometimes get caught up in what the world expects of
Mm.
us, and it's easy to compare our life or our experiences to someone else, and to suggest that we need to be like someone else. We need to be like them in order to be successful or in order to be seen. Whereas being our authentic self is enough. We are enough as we are. We have to own that. We have to be able to use that bravery and that courage, and sink into that, in its full power, because we have incredible beings on this earth. And I think that whenever everyone harnesses their true potential of authentic, genuine connection, it it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think so much growth comes behind that vulnerability and
Hmm.
being able to be real. Um,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we come to my lives and I talk about the yogurt that was splattered on the wall that day, or the toilet that
Yes.
over flooded like just 2 nights ago, or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's definitely not perfect, and
Hmm.
most of the time it's messy, not pretty. But
Yeah.
the best part is that it becomes beautiful, like even
Yes.
the messy parts.
Yes. Yes. And I was just talking to a friend, well, my co-host this morning, about how sometimes it's actually about the journey, and not so much the perceived expectation or the beautiful picture that we've painted, and this is the target, this is the goal, this is exactly where we want to be. But that journey getting there can be messy. It can be unexpected. It can create all kinds of emotions and it, overwhelm and chaos. But in that process of navigating the journey and the path, we learn so much about who we are and the connections that we've already made prior to going through that experience, but then the ones that we've made along the way, and really solidifying how important it is to have those relationships and have those connections, the ones where you can lean in a little bit more when you need it, or maybe it's just someone supporting or someone encouraging you along the way, or someone just saying, I see you, girl, I see you. I know it's hard, I know it's tough, but you're doing it. I see you. And that is so important.
Yeah, I liked how when you were talking, you talked about a painting, and just right in my mind, this picture of a beautiful canvas popped up. But then you talk to the artist about how that painting was created, and they talk about the many layers that are
Yeah.
underneath that
Yeah.
finished product, and how much work it took to fix that and change
Hmm.
that and
Hmm.
do all that stuff. And there's so many layers of paint there that we can't
Yeah.
see, and
Hmm.
we just see this finished polished piece that looks amazing. And she's like, oh, you have no idea.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
don't, because that
Yeah.
it is all about the journey, what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
And it can feel so overwhelming, and
Hmm.
we could we can hide and isolate ourselves
Yeah.
and dig deeper into this spiral downward hole and
Hmm.
feel depressed and scared, and what's the what's the answer? And
Hmm.
I just have to say, like, give yourself grace, but
Hmm.
find that community where you can
Hmm.
connect, because
Yeah.
that's what's going to help you
Hmm.
kind of climb out of that pit and start to paint again.
Yeah.
And your painting is going to look amazing,
Hmm.
every step of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny. I talk about how I have a kindergarten teacher brain. I'm not a kindergarten teacher. I do not aspire to be one, but I love that they have to get creative. And in that moment that you're talking about the painting and the layers and all of that, as someone who thrives so much on connecting to people. I very much a people person. And that's my heart, that's my soul. But I look at kids and I think they have such a beautiful opportunity in them that we can see and we can learn from them.
Mm.
When they are navigating the world, they are inspired by everything. Everything's exciting. Everything is so cool. I mean, at least for my kids, I don't know about anybody else's, but I'm constantly, hearing, hey, mom, look at this. Oh my gosh, look at that. And the innocence in it. And then it's as if, as they get older, they start holding it in. They start becoming reserved. They start like not getting excited about the things that they used to get excited about. And you start to see that switch, that tinge of like, like almost like they lose their light, that thing that lit them up. Um And then as they become adults, it's like they've started looking outward. They've started looking at how everyone else is doing whatever it is, whether it's how they dress or how they behave, or the music they listen to, or the TV shows that they watch, or, all the way down to, the way that they style their hair. And so, now that we're adults, we're like, oh, we can't do this of this, or they don't do that, or, whatever it is. But coming back to the kids, allowing them to be that inspiration. Of course, again, my kindergartner brain teachers, like, how do we harness this? Like, how do we make the whole world look through the lens of a child? Because it's so innocent and it's so sweet and it's so beautiful. I say beautiful a lot. I don't apologize for it, but anyway, but it acknowledges that as we get older and we become parents, we struggle with seeing that light and embracing that journey, whatever it is, whether it's like looking at a Lego set and being like, that looks like a lot of work. But for a kid, they're like, oh, they get so excited. My son begs for Legos. Like, that's his favorite thing. But to me, I'm like, that's so overwhelming. That's a lot of pieces. And I don't, like, these things are going through my brain, and yet also I'm like, good for him. Good for him that he gets to experience that. And,
Yeah, I think there has to be maybe this level of responsibility that comes as you're
yeah,
aging, and
yeah,
that kind of weighs us down a little bit. And then
yes,
we're all built for community, and
yeah,
this sense of belonging is so deep
mhm,
in us. And
yeah,
as you start to get older, you have to find those ways to
mhm,
feel like you belong somewhere. And
yes,
sometimes it's changing how you wear your hair, or
mhm,
maybe the words you say, or
yep,
those things that you used to like. Well, those aren't um, cool. I don't even think
mhm.
cool is a word anymore that people use, kids use. But anyways, whatever word it is, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not the thing. So I have to
yeah,
set that aside, to feel like I belong somewhere. But I
right.
think that's where, the family, moms, dads, we get to give them this sense of belonging in our home, so it's
Mhm.
constant, and
Yeah,
hopefully that innocence can last a little longer.
yes, yes. And that is so important. I live in this world where it's not Eden's world. It's just a world. It exists somewhere. Um, where I feel like we often get lost in all of the things that we have to do every day.
Yes, the to-do list is very
Yes,
long.
the to-do list. And sometimes it's not even that it's all hard things to do. It's just a lot. There's so much of it. And then other days we're like considering, okay, do I really want to do this? Like, do I like, because if I do this, then I have to do this, and then I have to do this other thing. And then like it just is so much all the time that we forget ourselves in all of it. We forget that we exist as human beings, and we're not robots, and we're not meant to be a checklist. But we create these things for ourselves to be more organized, or to be more sufficient or efficient, or a better parent, or a more responsible adult, or a better spouse, or partner, or a better pet parent, or my cat's over here crying at me. um but there's all of these expectations that we put on ourselves, I guess you could say. And
Mhm.
so and that same breath, we forget to take care of ourselves. And so that connecting with you in this way that's like, so you're bringing it all home, bringing it back to the family, bringing it back to the center, reestablishing not just the priorities, right? So like kids and taking care of them and feeding them and clothing them and, you know, doing all of those things. Those are great. Yeah. Those
Yeah,
are
they need those.
gotta have those. But um being joyful in the moment and appreciating and experiencing gratitude in its fullest um opportunity in that moment. And so I would love to have you share a little bit about, like, do you have conversations about what it will look like for this community? Because I'm sitting here in gratitude, just glad that we get to connect, of course. You know, because I love hearing about what you're doing, but also what it looks like going forward for people that want to get connected to you, but also the community that you currently have. Like, what does that look like? Are you going to build something bigger or keep it small, or what does that look like? Or maybe even take it off Facebook, take it off social media and go in real life.
I mean, if Facebook goes away, then I can still connect with my people through email and
Mhm.
that kinds of
Yeah.
things. But
Hmm.
and there'll probably be another platform that you throw it on, and because I mean that's where we are in this world right now. All of our
Hmm.
platforms are online based, and that's what's awesome. We can have a community where we don't live right next door or in the same
Yes.
neighborhood, but we can still
Yes.
connect in a way.
Yes.
So, you know,
Yeah.
worldwide is awesome.
Yes.
But I haven't really thought about, I do want more people in the community because then that will increase engagement.
Hmm.
But I haven't really thought about how big it could get,
Yeah.
because right now I'm still under like 100 members, you know, 78, I think. I don't remember the exact number, but
Hmm.
um, and I think that it might get a little too hard for me to manage things if the group gets like really big. But that's another bonus to it. There's people in the group,
Hmm.
and it's not just a Cherrie show, and I don't want everybody's family to look like mine. I do want the community to be helping each other. So
Hmm.
if it grows, like um then I'm excited about it. But I do think that there's boundaries and limits to what I can do personally. So
Hmm.
I would have to probably have some of the community members jump on board with facilitating meetings and things like that. But
Yeah.
I'm all for that too.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you are excited about whatever the future brings, and that you do want to continue connecting with moms. And you call it mom, and I call it mom. What is the difference? Do you know? Like, do you have a defined difference?
I get this question a lot. Okay, there is in certain countries they do say mum instead of mom, and I'm
Yes.
not from any of those countries.
Okay.
But
Okay.
when I was creating the group, I thought about what my kids call me, and they do call me mom. And then I
Okay.
was like, okay, I got this question a couple times, and I just took it to God, and I was like, what am I supposed to say when people ask me this? Because it could just be, oh, it was a preference. I like mom, and that's what I went with. But he gave me something more special.
Mhm.
So instead of just saying mom, 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 he was like, you are a meaningful, unique mother.
Mm,
And that's what I have written out about mom for myself.
mhm.
So meaningful, unique mother. We're all mothers. We yearn to have that meaningful connection with our kids, and we're all unique and different. So that's how I came up with or went with mom. And I think that your screen is paused because I can't hear or and you're frozen. So I don't want to. Oh no! I don't know if I'm just live on her group, but her screen disappeared. And it is frozen, and I don't want to. When I typed that to her, I didn't want to say. Um, so I said the screen is frozen in the chat to Eden, and then I was like, Frozen went right to my brain. My son loves the movie Frozen, and I was just thinking of Let It Go. And I don't know if she wants me to stay on here or if she wants me to stop, but here I am. Oh my goodness. So maybe I could just tell you a little bit about um, a program that I'm developing right now too. So this is called the Connection Adventure, and on top of having She's Connected, the free Facebook group, I also sell a program called Connection Adventure, and this is a treasure map that moms can follow with their kids, and it takes you along quests to connect you to God and your kids. And it's so meaningful and powerful. And Eden is not back yet, and I don't know if I'm supposed to stop. So, yeah, that's a little bit about the Connection Adventure. I think she's coming back. Eden, you're there.
I'm so sorry. So
You disappeared. I typed Frozen in the chat, and then I was like thinking of Let It Go and Frozen, and then I just started talking about Connection Adventure. This is a program that I created.
yes, and actually I was listening to you live.
Oh no!
Congratulations. You are just you should be a host of this show, by the way. You have just taken over. I don't honestly, I don't even know what happened because everything was still running, and I was just like, okay, well, we're just going to jump back on. So you did great.
Well, I'm so glad you came back, because I was like, what do I do? Do I hit leave or do I stay? I don't know. And like now my face is beet red. But anyways.
Oh, you did great. You did great. Sorry about that. Sorry to our audience. Oh my goodness. Okay. So you were talking about Frozen. I heard that, and that your son loves Frozen, and that also you are creating a program. So I think I heard part of it, but if you want to finish telling about it, I would love that.
Okay. It's called Connection Adventure.
Okay.
And I launched it last year, and one client signed on, and it was just kind of like a beta program where she gets to go along the journey with me while we create it. And it is filled with quests where moms get to connect to God herself and her kids. And it also incorporates taking photos together with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And each quest has a workbook for the moms and a workbook for the kids. And
Yeah.
you get to do like 3 things. And it just helps you, know what to do to make that one connection.
Yeah.
And then in the end, you get to have this like memory bank of photos with you, your kids, yourself, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it just creates connection the whole way through.
Yeah, I love that. And so when did you say that was going to be available, or is it already available?
Well, I'm going through it with my client right now. I
Okay.
plan to relaunch next year sometime
Okay.
again.
Mm-hmm.
But if you went to my website, it is in my shop and you can purchase it. And I would let you in just because I don't want
Okay.
anybody to miss out.
Yeah.
So it is available right now. And
Okay.
people keep telling me to sell it right now.
Yeah.
But I'm at that moment where like it isn't complete yet,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't finished it. So I'm all scared about talking about it. So I'm really surprised that when you disappeared, I mentioned it.
But I love that you felt comfortable to do that. Or maybe you just, in your discomfort, you just felt compelled to share something that you're doing that inspires you, and it will inspire other people.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
something, I'm working on it right now, so it's on
Yeah.
my mind, and so I was just like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I have the connection adventure."
Yes. And that's important to recognize. So, I'm really good at talking forever about what I do because I finally found my voice. I finally found the place where I belong, where I'm supposed to be, where I feel I can finally invite people to my table. I can finally welcome people on the journey that I'm on, that I'm taking. And I don't, you said you've only been doing this for a year and a half or so, but I think that it's always been there. And I think that it will continue to grow as long as you're willing to let it grow. And so by you just stepping into that opportunity when I wasn't even there, I was in the interwebs.
Right.
uh,
Ugh.
but you allowed yourself to open up about it and share it, and that's a big thing. That's good. So I hope that you will continue talking about it and sharing it even before it's finished, so that people
Right.
know it, so that they recognize it, and because they will offer inspiration as well, and they'll offer their own maybe you don't want advice or suggestions, but maybe they can ask questions and
I think
learn.
I would always take like feedback,
Yeah,
suggestions,
yeah,
because I want to
yeah,
make it better and I want it to be something
yeah.
that helps moms. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah. So yeah. So tell me, I mean, I've already put your website information on our chat description, but you can share that here. What is your website?
My website is cherryharvest.com.
Okay. And that is spelled CHERRIE
Yes, like my name. Yes.
harvest.com. Yes. Yes. Cherry with IE and not a Y.
Right.
And then so that connection adventure is on
Yes.
there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
And
is in the
then,
shop.
okay. And then also your Facebook group. Tell me the name of that again.
That's She's Connected, God, Herself, Her Kids. And if you go to my website, there is a spot where you could join um,
Oh, okay.
through there too. So,
Oh, okay. Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. And do you have anything coming up or anything that you'd like to share that might, resonate with someone, or maybe they want to reach out to you?
I don't know. I mean, there was another thing that I am working on. It's called the Brave Mom Club. And so
Oh,
this is a membership program.
mhm.
I don't have that completed or even started yet, but
Oh,
that is a future thing that I'm going to put out there.
okay.
And this is where we can connect mostly through email, and it's kind of Bible study related.
Okay.
So, what I found when I was in motherhood with young children, I
Hmm.
found it really hard to get into the Bible. And where do you
Hmm.
go? You grab the Bible and it's this huge book and you're like, where do I start? What verse do you want me to read? Where am I supposed to go?
Hmm.
So this actually gives you a little guide and it tells you which Bible verse we're going to be studying. And then of course it's sprinkled in with stories of my journey. And then it just like reminds us to pray. So it
Yeah.
sends out a little prayer for you to say to God, and you can say it wherever, whenever, in front of your
Hmm.
kids, with your kids. Like that's even better. And
Hmm.
it just gets us in the Bible more, in His Word, and then we can live it out even
Yeah.
easier.
Okay. I like that. I'm glad that you're putting that together.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. And so that hasn't been put together yet, but you will be working on it and you will share that when it's available.
I'm hoping to
Um,
have it available in January.
okay.
And now
Very
I
good.
just set it on this. So, like, it's got to happen, right?
I'm gonna use my skills as a coach and reach out to you in January and say, "Hey, Cherry, did you launch that yet? I need
Right.
some, I need somebody to do that with me. I need somebody to hold,
Like nudge you in
yeah,
the right direction.
yeah,
And that
because I mean,
accountability piece.
yes. And I do that well. I really do. But also I'm very much the eternal cheerleader. I love supporting, encouraging, empowering, lifting up other people.
Hmm.
And,
I resonate
whatever
with
the
that too.
yeah, yeah. So whatever journey we're on together, let it be joyous. Let it be filled with love and connection. Of course, the connection effect falls,
Yeah, exactly.
any way that I can plug that in. But really it's about that community that we build for ourselves and other people are drawn in.
Hmm.
And that's what's important overall. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there is
so I am
something else on my website. So I
yeah,
created a calendar, and there's kind of
yeah,
a story behind it. So
yeah.
last year, at the beginning of the year, I decided to um, create this photo project for my family.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to go on family hikes to a park by our house. And every month we went on a hike and we collected like nature treasures along the way on our hike. And then we got home and we arranged these treasures like leaves, rocks, nuts, whatever we found along the way. And we arranged them and we took photos of them. And then at the end of the year, I was like, I have to do something with these photos. They're amazing. So I created a calendar with these photos. But even more than the calendar or seeing the arranged photos, it was the connection that my family made on these hikes.
Mm-hmm.
And they miss it. Like after the year happened, I was like, we did our project, we're done. And
Yeah.
they missed the hikes. We've even taken several hikes since then because they're like, what about our family hikes? And so I just want, people to be inspired by, you might have an idea or you might not have an idea of how to connect to your kids, but if we keep it simple and we're consistent,
Mm-hmm.
then the excitement about it builds and it kind of becomes a family tradition,
Yeah.
and that just makes our kids feel like they belong even more, and
Yeah.
then it gets carried on like to their family. And
Yeah.
it's really cool to hear my kids talk about what they're going to do with their kids. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's some of these things that I've created, and it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds very much like the memories, those core memories that we build and create as children that solidify our values and our traditions as we grow, as we get older, becoming adults and passing that on, yes, to our family, but also to other people and letting them see a glimpse into who we are and what we experienced. That's to me, that's magic. I love those things. I love solidifying those memories and those that become traditions
Mm.
for our kids, um, that become adults and share it with their kids. And you get funny stories about how they took this one thing and made it their own, but it's part of the tradition. And that's important. Traditions are very important for me, for sure. So
Yeah, I like hearing, other moms' traditions or things that they do with their kids.
yes.
But sometimes we do them so often that they don't seem like special. But when we're
Hmm.
in a community and we start sharing about it, then we can spark the energy behind it. And
Yeah.
sometimes you feel like it's so much work. Like, okay, we do a tradition with our Christmas tree. We put up a Christmas tree when my kids were little, and you don't want to put glass ornaments or whatever on it because they're young and they'll grab it, they'll break it, they'll drop it. Maybe you have a cat and the cat goes in it, whatever it is. I was like, what are we gonna do? And we just kept having little kids, so I was like, we got to come up with something. And I started making ornaments out of paper that had photos on it of our year. And
Mm,
this has morphed into a family tradition that my kids absolutely love.
mhm,
And I decided to create so they wouldn't. Okay, so they started fighting over who got to put the ornament on the tree. And so I came up with I was a solution here. You get 12 ornaments, one for every month of the year. And you get 12 ornaments, one for every month of the year. And so I
yeah.
started making these ornaments, and each kid got 12 ornaments, and that's what you got to put on the tree. But what was awesome was when we were putting it on the tree, they're remembering our year because it's a photo from January, it's a photo
Mhm,
from February, it's a photo
yeah.
from each month. And
Mhm,
then we start telling stories and we laugh and sometimes we get a little sad and sometimes we get really happy and all this stuff. And then we have our Christmas tree, 9 kids, so lots of ornaments, and it's packed full. It's a scrapbook of my year that we just
mhm,
went through, and it's just
yeah.
awesome to like sit there and look at it. But
Yeah.
sometimes when December comes around, the I don't have the ornaments made. And
Mhm.
it's a lot of work to cut out 90 some or
Yeah.
100, over 100 ornaments. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, is it worth it? And we'll put up our Christmas tree and they'll all be asking me for the ornaments. And I'm just like, okay, we got to do it. And then like they help me cut them all out and you got to put yarn on all of them. And it's just like this huge process.
Mhm,
So just for the people out there, like it's worth it. It
mhm,
really is worth it. Like you
yeah.
could feel like it's so much work to do that thing, but
Yeah.
it means so much to them and it's
Mm,
something that they'll remember and it really is connecting your family.
yeah. Yeah. And and they get to carry that through, you know, going
Now that my kids are
going through.
older, they get to play a part in it and helping
Yeah.
create it and like pick the photo or cut
Yes.
out the thing because I
Mhm.
cannot cut out that many.
Oh, well, okay, Cherry, we have talked and talked and talked, and
Right.
I feel like we could probably talk about this a lot longer, but to spare our audience and to let you get back to your life, we can wrap it up.
That sounds good. We got
um,
bedtime coming soon, you know?
yes, yes. So, is there anything else that you would like to share or that you think would be important for people to know about you or how to get connected to you?
I don't think so. I think we covered it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today, co-hosting with me, and thank you for hosting while I was away.
That's right. Yeah, thanks for having me. And I'm glad I didn't like just hit the leave button when that happened because I
Yes.
was a little scared.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for not hitting the leave button. um, And for our audience that's watching this, I thank you so much for being here, watching this with us, listening in and learning about Cherry and how you can connect with her. For anyone looking for some inspiration, we have a couple guests coming soon. I can't share their names just yet. It's going to be exciting, though. I will tell you that. Lots of good information on how to get healthy, how to connect to the health practitioners in our community, as well as an opportunity for you, anyone that's an entrepreneur that's here locally, to join an event that I'm hosting at the Oasis Convention Center in November. It's going to be filled with entrepreneurs presenting to entrepreneurs. Until then, we'll see you next time.